Well, hello and welcome to the live stream straight off the bat. Join us on Thursdays as we speak to individuals from multiple industries that will help you understand financial literacy and education. If you're joining us from YouTube today, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and follow our page to stay updated with content and help you manage your money. I'm your host, Pauline Joseph, and today we're covering emerging online payment trends in Trinidad and Tobago. Our guest today is an OG. He's literally the OG. His name is Mark Cape. He's the director of digital business solutions, digital and electronic services at First Citizens Bank, Trinidad and Tobago. He has over 20 years of experience in the banking industry, and he holds a BSc in information systems and management and an MBA with a specialization in entrepreneurship and innovation. So we're gonna really tap into all that knowledge that he has today, as well as he loves to cook. I don't know if he cooked anything for Diwali. We'll find out. And he's also a Japanese anime fan. So let's welcome back Mark.
Hello, good morning, Pauline. Good morning. Long time no see. Long time no see.
Yes. And for those who don't know, Mark was the very first guest on the Straight Off the Bat series. It's almost 5 years we've been doing this, and we thank him so much for starting the ball rolling with this really informative session. So let's get straight into it because we have an overwhelming amount of people who are interested in this across social media. So let's just go straight into it. Mark, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm warmed up. I'm good. A lot of exciting things are happening. I'm ready to share.
Okay, great. So let's start with the big picture. The first question, when you look at Trinidad and Tobago payment trends, how do you measure this up against the wider Caribbean and the global market right now? Because obviously we see a lot of information out there around payment solutions that don't apply to us, because I have American friends and they're like, go, let's Venmo me this. And I'm like, what?
Mhm.
So when it comes to Trinidad and Tobago's payment trends, let's do some comparison. What would you have some feedback on that on?
All right. So good morning again, and good morning, audience. Thank you for having me. And to answer your question, a lot of curry was cooked on Sunday. I'll give you the full menu later on. And a lot of amazing things are happening in the digital payment space where we're not as behind as you would think. And it varies from Caribbean island to our CARICOM regions. For instance, this year alone, First Citizens pioneered a lot of firsts. So, for instance, you may not be aware, and a lot of things are happening behind the scenes, which lay the foundation for these emerging digital payment trends. So, for instance, we would have certified for something called card on file tokenization. And what that is, normally you would go to our website, you would go to your Netflix, your Amazon, any local site, and you would save your card information. And what really happens, that card information is stored on the site. They may encrypt it and try to hide it, but your card information is still there. Basically, through card on file tokenization, we work with an international token service provider. They capture and verify your card information and then return a token to the website. So for if any reason that site becomes compromised, they will not be able to get your card information. Just the token. And that token is really the foundation for a lot of the wallet and P2P solutions that you see emerging within the market. Second, we would, of course, and again, this is utilizing the same technology of the Venmos and Rails and those P2B providers within the US. We worked with our CyberSource gateway and our to launch something called Visa Payouts. And Visa Payouts is leveraging that same OCT, or what we call original credit transfer payments. So basically, it is like an alternative or an improvement on ACH. So let's say you have to pay salaries or do a disbursement or remittance. You would normally use ACH, put it in a batch, and you're defined on specific windows throughout the day. You would, if it doesn't, you can't do ACH payments on the weekend. If tough luck, if you miss the window, your staff is not going to get paid till Monday. Basically, with Visa Payouts, once it is your recipient has a Visa, any Visa debit card or any Visa debit card, you could send those funds 24/7, and the recipient will receive those funds immediately. So you're making it faster, more efficient, It works well for both the merchant and the provider. And another first is that we're also not looking at the corporate entities, but we're looking at the SME market, which is close to 85. I would even go as far as to say 90% of the market can be categorized as an SME or micro SME. We've just upgraded our MPOS or M-First solution. So as you know, you can use your phone and you would attach a device, Bluetooth a device, to do those sort of payments. But the industry is becoming very mobile centric. We have more mobile handsets than people in Trinidad and Tobago. I think it's 131% of the population in terms of mobile devices. So this we've upgraded where you no longer need the actual device. Your phone in itself becomes the POS terminal once it's enabled with an NFC emitter, which most phones do have near field communication. So essentially your phone becomes the device and you can tap your card on the phone and the payment is processed immediately. So we're definitely in the right space and laying the foundation, making transacting and payments more convenient, more secure, and of course being more mobile centric.
That's a lot to cover. I have so many notes, including the one about curry. But but we have to head over to Facebook because Christy was reading my mind. Christy, I was writing all these notes down, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna take one out of Pauline's head. So Christy wants to know, and we covered this in previous live shows, but as you know, we have a lot of folks who just discovered the Straight Off the Bat series. So we want to answer Christy's question, which I think is valid for anybody who's watching this. What is ACH?
Or ACH, automated clearinghouse. So ACH is really what all the banks and companies use. So if you need to pay your salaries, you would of course have a business online banking account either with First Citizens or any of the other banks, and you would have to provide the information in a specific format called a natural format. Don't ask me what that acronym means. And you basically load those transactions onto the platform to go through and process those payments, whether it be to the First Citizens or to another bank. With payouts, what it allows, all they're going to provide to you is their card number in a secure, again, you're not even providing the full card number. We would provide a token linked to that card number, and the provider can log onto the platform and push payments directly. One of the major providers who is actually using this is, of course, we're all familiar with Drop Caribbean. Everybody likes to order food, and all their drivers are actually paid via this Visa payout solution. So essentially, at the end of the week, at the end of the day, they can remit funds directly to the driver's debit card or credit card for easy and immediate access.
Which it's so great because I remember the first time I received a checkbook, and I am happy to say I have not used one of those in years, thankfully. And shout out to Salima on Facebook for also giving us a very in-depth explanation on the Facebook comments. So if you're watching this now or later, you could check that out. So we want to delve into this conversation around adoption, right? Because ultimately it's a little difficult, and I said little being very nice, but it's very difficult to shift over to this digital conversation if you're not familiar with it. In addition to that, I remember the first time, because you were talking about the SME market and the M-First solution. I remember the first time I saw it, and it was like a little calculator. And I was like, oh my goodness, look at that. I can't wait to go to the market in Tunapuna and get my, shadow Benny and be able to tap with my card. We're getting there, hopefully, So when it comes to adoption, what are some of the main drivers you're seeing in your 20 plus years? Because I'm sure you would have seen some shifts in the last couple of decades, if not years. So what are the main drivers are you seeing with adoption?
The drivers would be one, you want to provide accessibility, secure method to accept funds. We know that cash is king, but given our current ecosystem, you don't want to be carrying around cash. And definitely the solutions that are being developed are more intuitive, more user friendly. Uh, in addition to that, social media is huge. And what we see is a lot of businesses leveraging the solutions like we have EasyBiz, which allows you to accept payments via social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram. So the trend for social commerce is increasing, whether it be through marketplaces, people have their IG page and, they're selling a product for Christmas, literally, rather than this cash on delivery, which could be uh, not very safe at all. You could remit those payments, accept those payments beforehand in your account, and then you could use a delivery system. So there's not necessarily that face-to-face interaction, right? There are some deterrents, because we're seeing the trend moving in an upward direction, but not necessarily as quickly as we would like. I think one, it's definitely trust in technology. Um, I think one of the other deterrents is the process for onboarding can be at sometimes a little arduous because there's certain mandates in terms of information that we need to get about the person, about the business, and some people may be deterred by that. We are doing all we can, from a digital account opening perspective to make that onboarding process, to get access to these MPOS, SoftPOS solutions, out to the market to get it out easy. But, I see that as one of the deterrents moving forward.
Mark, I'm gonna be honest with you because I have to represent the people out there. When you said the difficulty of onboarding, my face was like,
Mm-hmm. 3
but
snaps. Yeah.
anyways. Anyways, before we go to break, I want to, because we mentioned this before, but I don't want to take for granted that everybody knows, because within the financial sector, there's all these acronyms and words that you may be using. So can you explain to us what is a P2P transfer? Because in order for us to move forward, I need to let everybody know what exactly that is so we could, continue with the questions.
Right. So P2P is really peer-to-peer. So that allows one, and I have to be very generic because there are a lot of P2P solutions in the market. There will be more P2P wallet solutions emerging within the next year. And that really allows for immediate transfer of funds from you from one person to the other, whether it be through a QR code, you scan a QR code and you can accept the information, whether or not they have something called an alias directory where your account or your card number is linked to your phone number and email address. So if Pauline has to send her money, I can just send her my number and she could send funds directly to my number, which is linked to my card. So we are seeing that trend. Where it's heading and what sort of how it's going to look in the future is still evolving, but definitely P2P, peer-to-peer, is going to become a natural part of our ecosystem within the next few years.
Yeah, and I would share personal examples. So I use Venmo because I also have accounts abroad. And I went to dinner with some friends and they're like, okay, you pay for the bill and you Venmo it, I'll just Venmo it. So that's usually a terminology that's used in the States because that's pretty popular. But we're excited to see what First Citizens Bank will be bringing in the future. That first, first is very important.
Yes.
But we are going on a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what Trinidad and Tobago customers are embracing when it comes to this payment solutions and emerging trends. So we'll be right back after the break. And welcome back to Straight Off the Bat, a show that helps you understand financial literacy and education. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm your host, Pauline Joseph. And if you're joining us from Facebook, don't forget to Subscribe to our page to continue seeing content that'll help you manage your money. Today, we are answering the question about online payments. Really and truly, we're covering emerging online payment trends in Trinidad and Tobago, and we're joined by Mark Cape. He is joining us from First Citizens Bank, Trinidad and Tobago, and with over 20 years of experience, we really want to delve into what people are doing, what Trinis are doing, what Tobagonians are doing. So let's bring him back in, and we're going to have this conversation around embracing wallets and contactless payments. So earlier, if you missed, some of the things that Mark covered, which is the M-First solution that a lot of SME businesses are using, don't worry, you can catch it on the replay. But we want to really find out, because in our last show, we were discussing what exactly is a digital wallet. But we want to hear from you as to what people are doing locally when it comes to embracing these solutions. So give us some insight on what you're seeing.
I definitely. So just to mention, I want to go back. The M-First solution, the new one that we're launching, is of course the first of its kind in the Caribbean and the region, as well as the Visa payout solution is the first again in the region and the Caribbean. So First Citizens, we like to be first. With that being said, definitely, what I will say, no two wallets are alike. And what will drive the acceptance of the wallet solutions within the market is really interoperability. You don't want everybody has to be on the same application. If we have that level of interoperability, you're going to see a rise. There are a lot of wallet solutions right now which leverage, QR code technology and the what you may call it, the alias directory. For instance, I think WAM recently just launched in May 2025, and they have a wallet solution which allows you to load funds onto the wallet to transact in a number of places, both online and in person. What you're definitely going to see in the future, and I have to be very careful, you're going to see a lot of the pays, a lot more, probably more internationally known wallets coming. And the benefit of those is that they use something called, and I'll be careful with my acronyms, they use HCE, or host card emulation technology. For that, basically, once you have a credit card, or in some cases even a debit card, you can load your card within that wallet and begin transacting immediately. That leverages the same near-field communication technology. So for all intents and purposes, your phone or your wallet becomes your payment mechanism. And it works on all of the existing POS terminal infrastructure in the market. Once a terminal can accept contactless payments with your normal contactless card, it can accept payments via a wallet, tap-to-phone technology. So once you have that seamless transition from cards into wallets, and you have a high level of acceptance from a POS merchant perspective, then you're going to see a lot of usage and a rising usage from the customers.
Alrighty. So I want to talk about adoption from the Trinidad perspective, but I also need to answer Salima's question on Facebook.
Salima's on
So,
fire today.
what are the P2P options currently small businesses here for international sales?
So we are exploring that option because, from an economy where we understand that FX is a challenge for businesses, and if you, of course, have a product or service that you would want to offer internationally, then you probably want to get paid in a foreign currency. So we are exploring that option. We don't have anything out of the box at this time, but it's definitely a market segment that we are exploring. And we do have the capability too. We're just working on the details, which would allow, so if you sell sorrel for some reason, some strange reason, and you want to export that, there are facilities that would allow you to accept payments internationally, and we're working through those details right now, just to make sure that it's secure, because opening up your market to a wider scale. And one of the main challenges is, of course, cybersecurity and security with payments. So we just need to make sure to do it right to protect our consumers and our merchants alike.
It's interesting when you say sorrow internationally, because I've been I'm going to school on evenings, and I was doing a project on Trinidad, people who live abroad, and there are more Trinis living abroad than they are living in Trinidad and Tobago. So, so,
They
Suleiman
want their
onto
sorrel for
something.
Christmas. Their sorrel and
Um,
ham for
uh,
Christmas. Yeah,
I
that cake.
saw something on social media where someone has a packet of oil down. So there is a market, guys. So
Yes,
let's
there is. There is.
let's
Yep,
tap into
yep.
that.
Think big.
Um,
Think big. Yeah.
hmm so Sintra, I'm gonna get to you on that because I really want to ask questions around adoption, but I want to address Amira's question, which is, I have a PayPal account but can't add a bank to it. Not sure how to do so. Maybe a breakdown on this. So do you do you want to touch on this, or we want to reach out to Amira after the show?
I will reach out to Almera because that is a very high level statement, and there are certain controls we have around PayPal, and it may vary from bank to bank. So she has my contact information. She could definitely reach out to me afterwards, and we see how we could facilitate that.
All right, great. So we're gonna head over to Sintra, which is she has an observation, and I want to tap into that. Sintra is very interesting technology. I think customers are a bit hesitant.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to adoption, can you give us maybe a quick story of someone who saw the difference in their business? Because you're in that space in terms of managing the digital business solutions. Um, you mentioned some of the fears people have, which is around trust and onboarding. But when they do get there and they are using the technologies, what is the feedback you're getting?
I'll go back to, I always remember this story. It was a defining moment. I was, I love to shop in person. I do, I like to walk around, see the stuff. And I was walking in Port of Spain, and I was looking for a doll for my daughter, and he had the doll, and, I paid for it and stuff. And I was like, hey, I noticed that, you were closed yesterday. I came by the store. And he's like, it's really difficult to manage, the store, brick and mortar. He's thinking about doing it online. And I was like, hey, well, yeah, you're talking to the right man. And I gave him my number, and we were able to onboard him. And within a month or two, he was able to migrate his entire business from home. He didn't need that brick and mortar store. He loaded, advertised everything on Facebook and Instagram, utilized our EasyBiz solution to allow for payments within the application itself, as well as to send payment buttons. So, you want a product, we'll send you a payment button via WhatsApp or email. When you select that link, it routes you directly to our secure PowerTrans gateway. You put in your information, and that was really able to save a business, especially after COVID, where that brick and mortar model was failing. So we have a lot of success stories like that. I think it's really about educating the merchants in terms of how these solutions can help their entire business model, not just accept funds, but redefine your business. You don't have to have a physical store. You can do everything online. You can do things from home. You can reduce those cost overheads. And it's really about educating our merchants at the end of the day.
Fantastic. And I think, I mean, we've had this conversation multiple times on this show because you've been on here a few times. Cash is cash is definitely something that it comes with its own issues. So hearing that story is a fantastic development as a consumer because I want ease, right? And
Yep.
also cash is also easy to disappear when it's in your hand for some reason.
Correct.
I don't know.
Correct, Mundo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
you know
just as easy from your credit card as well sometimes, but that's a whole other story, definitely.
Uh, so let's head over to the conversation around. I think I want to have a broader conversation around a strategic perspective in terms of digital wallets and as a convenience feature. Do you think that this is something that is absolutely necessary in terms of this is where banking is heading? So jump on board or be left
Oh,
behind. What's your thoughts on this?
definitely. I mean, wallets are the future. Think about it. When you leave home, you grab your wallet, your phone, your car keys, your ID. And it goes back to the story of when you're in school and you're using a calculator, and your teacher tells you, you're not going to have a calculator for your entire life. Well, that's not true, because you have a calculator on your phone, you have a compass, you have essentially your ID through the biometrics on your phone, so you don't need your ID. Some cars could even be entered with your phone. So essentially, your phone plays an integral part. All you need to leave home is with your phone, and you essentially can complete payments securely. And there's even a higher level of security, because think about it. You have your card. You, of course, have to remember your PIN. That could become compromised. Somebody can steal your card. But with the wallets, one of the best features is that for you to complete a transaction, you must be able to validate your biometrics, whether it be your fingerprint, your facial recognition. So you're getting a higher level of security in knowing that I am completing this transaction beyond a shadow of a doubt, right? So you don't have to worry about walking with anything else when you leave your home other than your mobile device. And that is the trend we see moving forward, definitely. And you either jump on the train, as you say, or you get left behind.
Yeah, and we've actually had on previous shows where guests shared data on the adoption. So it's definitely a change that is happening. So it's up to us to follow along. So we're gonna head to the comments because it's piling up. And I don't know if this is something you can answer now or later. So guys, we are definitely going to try our best. But Bradley wants to know what options are there for new businesses that are trying to offer digital services locally and getting paid locally. The only option we were offered required large upfront onboarding fees, because I know First Citizens Bank has some SME solutions.
Right. So what I would say, I'm not sure which bank you went to. I can say that the onboarding fees are, I don't want to say minimal, but they're not large by any means. In some cases, those could even be waived. But for any merchant locally, you have the MPOS 2.0, not utilizing that little calculator. You have the normal POS terminal. You have EasyBiz, which leverages our secure payment platform, and you can accept payments via WhatsApp, email, social media. So there's a plethora of solutions. At the end of the day, there are fees associated with the transactions. I'll be very honest, I remember overhearing a conversation with a potential merchant, and when they heard that they had to pay 75 cents fee for a transaction, they were, what, 75 cents? But when you think about it, that 75 cents is a very small price to pay to know that the funds have reached your account safely, securely. You don't have to go into the bank. You can pay your staff, perform all your transfers online through our new business online banking platform. So what you're really paying is for top class, first class service technology, because there are a lot of solutions embedded with those business online banking and retail online banking solutions that really will help your business. So I don't think that the onboarding fees are very are ridiculous in any form or fashion. In fact, I think, for instance, our MPOS solution, it's $100 or $120 per month for the solution. That's a very, very small price to pay for being able to accept digital payments.
And I think it's also a shift of thinking, because within the digital space, even as remote working is, being better in terms of adoption, there are different costs that's going to shift. So you now have cybersecurity conversations happening.
Correct.
So it's really a shift that we have to be able to adopt. So it's interesting that we're going in that space, because April has a question that I think is fantastic, because it has to do with cybersecurity. But we're going to have to answer that question after the break. April wants to know, what if your phone is stolen? Because we're talking about, all these opportunities that are easily accessible on your phone. But that's a fantastic question, which we will answer right after the break. We'll be right back.
Tired of feeling lost when it comes to your money? Want to make your money work more for you? Then tune in to Straight Off the Bat, brought to you by the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago. every Monday at 8:30 p.m. on TV6, right after the news. We'll give you practical tools and strategies to help you manage your money wisely, from budgeting basics, debt management, to wealth creation. We'll cover it all. No jargon, just straight talk. Join our host, Pauline Joseph, as she speaks to experts across the industry to empower you to take control of your money. Straight off the bat, Mondays at 8:30 p.m. on TV6. Brought to you by the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago.
And welcome back to Straight Off the Bat, a show that helps you understand financial literacy and education. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you're doing so from LinkedIn, don't forget to subscribe to our page to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money. I'm your host, Pauline Joseph, and today we're covering the topic, Emerging Online Payment Trends in Trinidad and Tobago. We're joined by Mark Cape, who is actually head of digital business solutions at First Citizens Bank. So we're going to bring him in because we have so many questions. And if you miss any of this, don't worry. Once this live is over, you can check it on the replay across social media, as well as check out the comments because it's definitely popping in that area. So before the break, we were having this discussion around security and obviously the ability to use your phone to make all these payments and accept payments. But everyone wants to know, what if your phone is stolen? So Mark, you want to give us some insight there?
Definitely. And I like the way the conversation is heading, because as you evolve from a technology and a digital payment perspective, you're of course adding inherent risks and cybersecurity risks. From your phone is stolen perspective, I think that's everybody's worst nightmare. One, remember that to utilize the wallet or any wallet solution requires biometrics. So you must use facial recognition. You must use your fingerprint to be able to facilitate the transaction. And through the other digital portals, what you can do is report it lost and stolen. You can literally also put a block on for many applications, you can put a permanent block on your card or account linked to that particular device until you get it back or you get it restored. So there are mechanisms in place, and the bank, I should say, one, we are doing our part in terms of, as I mentioned, tokenization, securing your personal data within the websites and your credit card data. We invest a lot in what you call 3D secure technology, validating transactions. So, if basically every day you do a transaction for $500, and then one day you do a transaction, 3 transactions for $10,000, then obviously the system is going to know, hey, something is up, something is wrong. This is not Pauline's usual spending habits. We'll flag it. We put a lot of control with the customer. So let's say for some reason, not even your wallet, your card is stolen. You can register and set up yourself for our alert messaging system so that any transaction that is done with that card, you would get a notification immediately. So, truth be told, there was a time I've all of a sudden started getting alerts on my phone from my credit card, and I got worried. Now, truth be told, it was my wife. Don't worry about it. But again, you're in the know, and we're putting you in control of the transacting in this digital space. But again, the bank can only do so much to secure your information and secure these transactions. The onus is really on the customer as well to heed the warnings. Use strong passwords for your online banking sites. In terms of the password strength, use password phrases rather than your mother's maiden name or your name. I love doubles. That could be a password, right? Do not click on any suspicious sites. One of the major trends we're seeing now is smishing, where customers are getting these text messages and there's always a sense of urgency behind it. Please contact your bank now, and there's a link embedded within the message, or you've won something, always something fantastical. The bank will never place a URL or any link within any embedded message. That is our policy. So if you click on that link, more than likely you are going to be routed to a fraudulent site where your information could be compromised. So it's really about educating the customers, educating the merchants, because you are a first line of defense from a cybersecurity perspective.
Poor Mrs. Cape. Poor Mrs. Cape. As you know, I just want to say, as a feminist, Mrs. Cape, I'm on your side, dragging you, but I'm on your side. So when when it comes to this conversation, April, it triggered me there because you ever have that feeling of where did I put my phone, and for a split second you feel like your entire life is just flashing before your eyes. I don't know when we got here,
Yeah.
but in case you missed it, April, we did speak about biometrics and exactly what all that is on the last show. So we're going to put that in the comment section wherever you're watching this from. So you could check that out. But I think the biometrics conversation is extremely important when we're looking at, obviously, this digital adoption. Throw in some acronyms, throw in some irregular characters in those passwords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is not.
It's not a password, good password. Nope,
No.
definitely not.
No.
Yeah.
All right. So when it comes to, I just want to pinpoint, Trisha is having a conversation on Facebook. Trisha, unfortunately, we can't be able to respond to some of your questions because there's no one on this live stream right now that would be able to answer it. So we're going to have to take that one offline. So when it comes to, this conversation around trends and what's been happening, a huge segment of our economy is very cash heavy. This idea of I need to physically see my cash, which is, it's an adoption. We're going through some phases, and this is the reality of it. So what is First Citizens doing to specifically help these small businesses successfully go to digital?
So one, as I said, is developing these solutions that are really turnkey. It doesn't require any in-depth knowledge or technical skills. Trying our best to make the onboarding process as seamless as possible, and also developing solutions that meet their business needs. So what we're also seeing is a rise is social commerce, because very few people have a website anymore, but they have a Facebook page, they have an Instagram page, they have a TikTok. And if we're working towards helping this small market leveraging those social media platforms to accept payments securely and educate them on the challenges with cash. I never have cash, which is a big challenge when I'm trying to buy doubles. Yes, as you can tell, I do love doubles, but we trying to really, and we're seeing the migration, we're seeing it moving. I want, when I retire in however many years, that I can go to a doubles man and pull out my phone or pull out my card and pay for my doubles. That is the future. That is when I know I've made it.
Gosh, those are dreams, because I feel the same way about the market. I love the market, and for us to have that adoption, instead of having to actually go to the ATM, take out the money, it would be great to be in that position, and I think we will get there. So I want to head back to the comments, and you mentioned something earlier, and Salima wants to know if these 75 cents per transaction, regardless of sale amount.
So yes, that that 75 cents is specific to debit card transactions. There is a percentage fee for credit card transactions, and that varies dependent on the type of merchant. Those fees are not set by First Citizens, but rather interbank committee. It can range as much as 3%. All the way in some cases maybe to 1%, depending on the industry, whether or not it be a supermarket, a gas station, retail. That percentage varies from industry to industry.
Okay, so we're gonna head over to Bradley's question as it relates to payment gateways that required $6,000 upfront and yearly for brand new business with other costs required to start. This is a large fee. So is there something that First Citizens can offer? Because we are looking to do online transactions using MPOs. I'm not sure what MPOs are, but you're gonna let us know.
Pause or M first. So I am not sure where you got that information about that 6,000 upfront. You're going to message me, Bradley, at the side and get that information. So just so you know, FAC has recently been branded to the Power Trans Gateway, and they are the ones actually facilitating the upgrade in our MPOS or M-First solution to get away from having to use a device where your phone itself becomes the terminal device for you to accept payments. That fee does not sound realistic. There are some fees associated in terms of sign-up fees and integration fees, but we try as much as possible to make the onboarding experience seamless, also from a cost perspective. So you can reach out to me online and determine where you got that information, because we also have PowerTrans is not the only gateway. We also have the CyberSource gateway, which can also be utilized. We're so big now, we have 2 gateways, PowerTrans and CyberSource. So you have options to facilitate your online payments.
Well, that's a sign of growth. Love that. Love to hear that. So we're going to head over to YouTube with Insight Central. This information sounds great. As a small food business owner operating out of my home, what is the best online payment solution you can recommend for my customers?
Excellent. I love these questions today, Paulie. I feel like I'm reaching out to the people. So definitely, I would invite you, go to our First Citizens website and look for EasyBiz. EasyBiz will allow you. So again, you want to deliver food, or you want to a food business and you want to accept payments. It doesn't require a lot. You literally would go on the page. The person has to spend $120. You would email them or send them that link via WhatsApp. They would select it. They would complete the transaction with their debit card or credit card, and those funds would hit your account immediately. If you're thinking about doing deliveries and you want to collect the funds on delivery, the other option is, of course, the MPOS, where they can tap the card on the phone. So that's also another option.
All right. So there, guys, if you have any more questions, let me know. I'm not going to hog Mark for the entire, we have 20 more minutes to go. So let me know, because I do have questions for him as well, but obviously you come first, right? So
we put you first.
You see what I did there? You see what I did there? So when it comes to this conversation around, obviously ease of payments, receiving payments, there is a balance to be had when it comes to security. So obviously we would have had that question earlier about losing your phone, which is, April was giving us trigger warnings with that. But when it comes to how First Citizens is ensuring a perfect balance, we want to find out, for those who may be watching this and thinking, okay, I want to start this process, what's that balance look like when it comes to convenience and security coming from First Citizens Bank?
Well, definitely convenience is there. From a security perspective, we've embedded our solutions with features that allow for that high level of security. So one, when you use either our retail online banking or our newly launched business online banking platform, when you're doing your registration or specific sort of transactions, you would get an OTP, one-time password, which would go to your phone or email, which would allow you to complete the transaction. For some transactions that we may deem risky, you may have to answer a secret question or do a captcha. So we're embedding a lot of layers of technology that you don't even realize are happening in the back end to keep that transaction secure, so you don't have to worry about it. But it still should be at the forefront from the perspective of hey, I seem to have gotten a message from First Citizens with a link embedded. We would not do that. We would send messages, but there would be no link embedded that would add any layer of risk to you as the customer. These solutions, they're not just about accepting payments. They come embedded with invoicing tools, with reports which you can print, or you can save, or you can actually export into your CRM, customer relationship module, or Peachtree, any accounting. So we're also, as I mentioned, have that level of interoperability where this system will make running your business a lot easier, because it's also about data. You want to check your sales, you want to check your credit versus debit, you want to understand how to pivot. All that information that the sites give you will allow you to make your business more successful.
Well, thank you so much. we have some more questions. I like April's questions on Facebook about creating a link with a set amount, which I think is an answer everybody on this session would want to know. As well as we have some questions from YouTube and LinkedIn. But guys, we need to go on a break, and when we come back, we'll answer all your questions. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Straight Off the Bat, a show that helps you understand financial literacy and education. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you're doing so from YouTube, don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you will continue seeing content about helping you manage your money. So today we are covering the topic emerging online payment trends in Trinidad and Tobago, and we're joined by Mark Cape of First Citizens Bank. And because we have so many questions to answer, we're just gonna bring him back in because we can't do any more introductions. Like you need to know Mark by now. He's super important.
Stop it.
So we're gonna head straight to Facebook. And April's coming with the question. Can you create a link with a set amount?
Yes.
And I'm assuming, April, I'm hoping that we're understanding this correctly. You're asking your customer for a specific amount of money and you're sending a link. So Mark.
Yes. So yes, April, absolutely correct. The link that you send would be for a specific amount. And of course, you could put in details around the transaction. And again, when you click on that link, it'll get routed to the secure PowerTrans gateway. You don't have to worry about the security at that point in time, and your transaction will be facilitated. But yes, it is for a fixed amount.
All right. Thank you so much. She did go on to explain the question, and yes, we did answer it. So we're going to head over to YouTube. This is an interesting question. Are we moving towards something like Cash App or Zelle? Because I mentioned, guys, earlier, if you missed it, Inside Central about Venmo, where you're not charging through the bank and there's no minimal transaction or customer not needing to have an account with the same bank. So you want to touch on that?
Oh yeah, I'll touch on it briefly. I kind of did before. So again, yes, as a banking industry, we are moving towards that. There are some prerequisites that need to happen in the design of the solution. One is to ensure interoperability and a standardization so that if I'm on a First Citizens app and you are on another app, there are methods we could utilize to make sure we have that interoperability. Because as you said, you went for dinner to TGI or what have you, and if somebody's another bank and they're not going to be able to process the transaction because they don't have that level of interoperability, that will always be a challenge. So we are working towards that. And then two, something that needs to happen is develop that eKYC policy or framework as a country. And that would facilitate easier onboarding or registration, and would also service the unbanked. So as you said, you don't necessarily have a bank account, but you may be able to transact within a wallet once it is for a specific amount. Once it is, you can do that electronic validation of the customer.
Okay, and last question from LinkedIn from Jenny. Hi, Mark. Are the transactions processed in real time?
Yes, they are. That is one of the benefits of going digital because it's 24/7, real-time payments. We live in an age of instant gratification. From social media to if a video is more than a minute on social media, I may not watch it. You want to get to the point, get that information quickly, securely. Same thing with the payments. Everything is real time.
Wow. So we are going there and we're talking about the emerging trends, and sounds like we are there for sure. And this conversation on onboarding, it's a lot of us, there's memes about it, let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
us have some
yeah.
difficulties. So when it comes to this entire space and emerging trends in Trinidad and Tobago, what efforts are in place to maintain the customer's confidence that not only am I going to be able to act, do this digital adoption easily, but I feel confident that First Citizens Bank is going to make sure that everything's going to be okay once, obviously, the customer creates those passwords and activate the biometrics.
Yeah. So we were doing a lot of things in the background, doing a lot of security reviews, prompting the customer to ensure that their password is secure, and the level of encryption that we're doing internally. Without getting too technical, we continuously review and make sure it is at the highest standard. It gets really technical. We have a whole security and cybersecurity team really dedicated, looking at trends within the market, how the fraudsters are attempting to get into the system or to encourage you to go to the fraudulent sites. One of the major ones that come up is what they call social media investment scams, where if you get a message that says you won $1 million or get rich quick on this platform or whatnot, if something is too good to be true, it probably isn't. And we're really encouraging customers to not click on these links, not be routed, don't get fooled. Stay within your secure domain. We are working towards, in the back end, ensuring that we are developing a solution that is best in class from an international standard, preventing any of those fraudsters. Somebody told me they went to a security seminar recently, and they said, especially with the rise in AI, that there are over 100,000 attacks per minute on different systems within Trinidad and Tobago that fail. But it just shows the level of intensity that these fraudsters and cyber criminals are trying to get into your system. But we're doing everything we can to keep you secure.
Yeah, and I mean, security in general is not something new. The idea of seeing a big security truck with someone with guns, it's
just think
second
that
nature.
digitally. Just think that
Exactly.
digitally, right?
Exactly.
Right? With the security truck, the armored van.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just through the waves of the internet.
Correct, Mundo.
So we're gonna have one last question from Ari on Facebook. What I am trying to understand with eBiz is, can we receive USD, furthermore any currency, or is it limited to Trinidad and Tobago dollars? And are you guys thinking of expanding that in the future?
Excellent question. I knew it was coming, given, of course, the FX shortage. What I can say, it is something that we are exploring, but there are certain rules or controls or safety measures that we would have put in place to facilitate a merchant accepting in USD. But definitely it's something that we were exploring for the future.
All right. Thanks for that question. So, we are talking about what has happened and what's been happening. And with your over 20 years of experience in this space, if you had a crystal ball, what would be your 5-year review for the Trinidad and Tobago payment space? And what essential role will First Citizens Bank play in shaping that future?
Yeah. Within 5 years, I see definitely wallets and P2P solutions becoming second nature. I see you leaving your credit card or your debit card home, and is not one of those key items that you need to leave the house without. I see definitely a rise in social commerce. Definitely within 5 years, the use of AI in not just payments, but in banking. I mean, it is already there, and it is coming, super fast to the industry, and we are exploring. But even today, ChatGPT launched a web browser that I think is called Atlas, that allows you to, the more you interact with it, learns about you, and you can. I see us being at a point where I can literally say, "Hey, Siri," or whatever the chatbot is, "pay my TNTech WASA and B-Mobile bill," and it's going to do it automatically once you can do that voice recognition or a password. So definitely AI and the use of AI is going to be integral in the future of digital payments and digital banking.
And we apologize for anybody with an Apple phone who unfortunately may have paid their TNTech bill because Mark decided to do it on your behalf.
I love it. I love it.
Right. So, we were talking about you cooking, obviously. And I'm sure that curry was amazing. Was it great?
It was great. We did curry goat, curry duck, aloo chana, pumpkin, mango, bodhi, dal, rice, basap shot, dal puri,
Wow.
and mother-in-law. Most important, I love my pepper. Needless to say, after that meal, it was an immediate nap, a 2-hour nap required, right?
Uh, that sounds like a place to be. So I want to kind of close off with something that was mentioned in I think it's Ada on Facebook. Guys, I'm just quoting. This is not me. Mentioned that many old people still hide away money under their beds and pass down those insecurities to children. So anybody watching this now on the replay on the TV6 show, what advice would you give to someone who has this innate fear, of change? Because ultimately that's going to be the biggest hurdle and challenge.
So change is always hard, but before we close, I just have to make sure and say my kids are going to be watching. Hi, Emmeline. Hi, Evan. Go back and do your homework. Right. With that being said, change is hard. And how do you really invoke that change within these customers? It's really about building that awareness of the solutions, giving the knowledge, and building the desire to utilize, giving all the information, and just making them realize that this is a way to going to continuously reinforce the benefits, as well as continue to educate them with regards to security measures. I'm always proud to say my father is 91 years old and he does online banking, he shops online, and I really took the time again to educate him. A lot of people may not have that, a son like me to sit down and do it with you, but that's fine. But I always say, if my 91-year-old father can do it, definitely anyone can do it. He's a success story.
All right. I feel like Senior Cape is going to teach us all.
Papa Cape, Papa Cape.
Papa Cape, I think. And on that note, I want to thank you so much, Mark, for joining us today and sharing insight to emerging online payment trends in Trinidad and Tobago. And don't forget, guys, sign up to be notified about our next live show via the links in the comments. Wherever you're watching this, it might be there, it might be there. So you will not miss a single live show. As always, be sure to like and follow our pages across social media. And thanks again for joining us. So we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.